In this video, we're going to take a look at using text and some of the advanced tools that are available to us in AutoCAD. So let's open up the notesexample.dwg file. That's notesexample.dwg. This is just a file that has one object of text in it, or multi-line text. There are more than just lines and arcs in your construction documents. Our drawings, regardless of their intent, need written instructions. So text in AutoCAD has come a long way since I first started using it. When I first started, all that you could do was type a single line of text. That was fine for most of it, but when you hit enter, it was a new text object that was started. That was fine most of the time, but if you had a long series of notes or notes you needed to edit, it was a big pain to work with. Once mtext or multi-line text was available, notes were a lot more fun to work with. But now, the mtext feature in AutoCAD is almost as powerful as an entire word processor. In fact, if you've used the word processor, working with multi-line text in AutoCAD will be very familiar to you. So again, if you haven't already, open up the notesexample.dwg file. In here, we have a single mtext object. And what I want to do with this is number the items. So we have like a note 1, note 2, note 3. Now, before, what you had to do was just type in a 1, tab over, and align all the text. But if you double click on your text object, that will open up the text editor. And this is what it looks like. You have a ruler here, you have your working window, and you have this contextual ribbon called the text editor. You can change your different text styles. You use different fonts if you want. You can mask the text. You can change the text height. You can match properties from one text object to another, bold, italicized, underline. Here's your fonts, your layers, and other formatting options right here. Now, this are your paragraph options. This is where you can change your justification. Click on it here, click on any of these, change your line spacing, or you can come up here to your bullets and numbering. Now, once you have a bunch of text written in here, you can select it all and click on the bullets and numbering. Right now, mine's turned off, but if I select numbered, you can see the preview here. It automatically numbers my objects. So if I go to the bottom here of note number 10, press enter, it automatically populates my list number with the next number, in this case 11. Press enter again, it goes to 12. If I press enter again, it goes away. I can just start typing in more notes. It's very easy to use. Now you'll also notice in here that some of these items have red dashes underneath them. Now, these are words that the AutoCAD dictionary doesn't understand, meaning it's a spell check. So it's saying, hey, these things aren't here. What do you want me to do? Well, in this case here, we have a Deltec. Well, that's a name brand for some different parts of walls. So what I want to do is click here, get my cursor there. And if I right click, you can see here, it's giving me suggestions for possible proper spellings. And if I can't find one here, I can go to more suggestions and it will show me that there. Well, this is a proper name or a brand name, so it's not in the dictionary. But if I want, I click add it to dictionary and the line goes away. Plus, in future instances of AutoCAD, anytime we see this name Deltec, it'll automatically say, yes, it's spelled correctly. And I can do that again for knee wall and all these others if I'd like. Now, if I come down here, I see this word. This is important. Well, it is because it's spelled incorrectly. If I right click, here's a proper spelling, and it'll fix that for me. And when you're finished working with multi-line text object, just click outside of that window, and there's your object. Now, there are other really cool items that you can use. One is a find and replace. Type in the word find, press enter. Just type in what is it that you want to find. Let's say Deltec, and I want to replace it with some other brand name. I'm going to call it brand B. So if I pick replace all, I found one match of it in my drawing and it changed it. Click OK, click done, and you'll see up here where I misspelled brand B, it's what it put in there for me. So that was real nice, find and replace. That's a real nice tool that you can use. Now you also have a find and replace tool in your ribbon when you open up the text editor. You'll find it right here, click on it, and it will find it right inside here in your text object. And you have a bit of criteria. You tell it to find what, tell it to replace it with what, and you can have these different filters. And that can be very useful as well. So if you are in the editor, you can get to some special editor settings by double clicking inside your text object and then right clicking, and that will bring up your menu. Go down to where it says editor settings, and you can find check spelling right here. You can turn that off and on if you don't want to see it. You can also go to your check spelling settings. Click that here, and you can ignore capitalized words, ignore words with mixed cases, or however you want to do it. Just click cancel and that will change your settings for your spell check. Now you can also work with columns inside of your multi-line text. Once in the editor, you come up here to the top. You can say no columns, or you can switch it to dynamic columns. You can switch it to a manual height or an auto height. Typically, I'm using a manual height setting because I don't ever really know what it needs to look like. So when I left click and drag on the edge of my text editor, I can change my columns just by clicking and dragging. And AutoCAD will automatically wrap the text wherever I need it to go. I can define the width of my column just by dragging left or right, and I define the height by dragging up and down. Left click out of there, and you can see this is what it looks like. Again, I can click and drag almost everywhere. I can click here, and that'll keep them separated a little bit, which makes it easier to see, which is probably a really good idea. Or if I go to the columns, I can click static columns. I can make it where there are always 2 or 3, and as I stretch, it's going to keep them that way. I can also go to dynamic columns and switch it to an automatic height so that as we type in our text, it keeps it there at that same text wherever it needs to be. And I can control that and tell it what I want it to be. So that's useful. If you only have a set area in your file and you know how big it's going to be, you can enter that in. Typically, I don't do that because it's going to be different on every drawing. So when you single select your text, you can also grip edit it this way. Control the width, control the separation right here, just like you would on your text. So you can see you can get to some crazy looking things, ones that you're probably not really going to want to use in that case. But it's very easy to use, it's very quick, and you can make it into a very powerful tool when you're working with multi-line text.